Pick it up. All of it. The restaurant owner threw the entire delivery on the ground. One dented can, and he made the delivery man collect every box while customers watched. Called him garbage. But 3 days later, the delivery man came back. Not in his delivery uniform. In his real uniform. Health Inspector Dr. And the owner's face went white. Because the man he humiliated had the power to shut down everything he built. The morning sun was bright. Too bright. David Chen pulled his delivery truck into the loading dock behind the Sterling Rose, the most expensive restaurant in the city. His son Tommy sat in the passenger seat, coloring book open, humming to himself. "Stay here, buddy. I'll be quick," David said. "Okay, Dad." David grabbed the dolly, loaded it with boxes. Fresh produce, dry goods, specialty items the restaurant had ordered. He'd been doing deliveries for 6 weeks now. Part of his job. The part nobody knew about. He knocked on the loading dock door. It swung open. Marcus Webb stood there. White, chef coat, pristine. Arms crossed. Looking down at David like he was an inconvenience. "You're late," Marcus said. David checked his watch. "I'm 5 minutes early, actually. Early is late when I'm waiting." David said nothing. Just started unloading boxes. Marcus inspected each one. Opened lids. Checked labels. Then he stopped. Held up a can of tomatoes. "This is dented," he said flatly. David looked. Small dent. Barely noticeable. Still sealed. Still safe. "It's a minor surface dent," David explained calmly. "The seal is intact. It's perfectly—" "I don't accept garbage," Marcus interrupted. He looked at David. Then, at the entire delivery. "Take it all back." David paused. "Sir, the rest of the order is perfect. One small dent doesn't—" "Did I ask for your opinion?" Silence. Marcus's voice grew louder. Customers were starting to notice through the open kitchen door. "I don't accept garbage. From garbage people." Then, without warning, Marcus swept his arm across the dolly. Boxes crashed to the ground. Produce rolled across the concrete. Bags split open. David stood there, watching his carefully loaded delivery, scattered across the loading dock. "Pick it up," Marcus said coldly. "All of it. And don't come back until you learn what quality means." David looked at him. Long, what? Steady. Then, slowly, he knelt down. Started picking up boxes. Marcus stood over him, arms crossed. Watching. Customers whispered. Kitchen staff looked away. Uncomfortable. But no one helped. David collected every item, every piece of produce, every scattered box. His face calm, composed. Because he'd learned a long time ago, that dignity is not about how people treat you. It's about how you treat yourself. He loaded everything back onto the dolly. Stood. "Have a good day, sir," he said quietly, and walked back to his truck, where Tommy was watching through the window. Big eyes. Confused. Sad. "Dad, why was that man mean to you?" David drove away from the Sterling Rose, hands steady on the wheel, face calm. "Shiri, no, me, unmaya." Tommy looked at him. Waiting. "Sometimes people forget to be kind," David said finally. "But he was really mean. He threw your stuff. He called you that word." David glanced at his son, 7 years old. Too young to see cruelty, but old enough to remember it. "He did," David admitted. "But that says something about him, not about me." "Are you sad?" David pulled into a parking lot, stopped, turned to Tommy. No, buddy. I'm not sad. Why not? Because I know who I am. And what people say when they're being cruel. That's about them, not us. Tommy thought about this. So you're not garbage? No, David said firmly. I'm not. And neither are you. And don't ever let anyone tell you different. Tommy nodded. Okay, Dad. What Tommy didn't know, what Marcus Webb didn't know, was that David Chen wasn't just a delivery driver. He was senior health inspector for the entire county. For the past 6 weeks, he'd been conducting undercover evaluations, seeing how restaurants treated their suppliers, their delivery workers, the people they thought didn't matter. Because David believed, if you treat the people who handle your food with disrespect, what does that say about how you handle food? The Sterling Rose had been on his list for months. Complaints from staff, rumors of violations, but nothing concrete. Until today. Today, Marcus Webb made a mistake. He showed David exactly who he was. And in 3 days, David would show him the consequences. But first, he had paperwork to file, evidence to document, a case to build. David pulled out his phone, opened his official notes app, typed, "The Sterling Rose, owner Marcus Webb, public humiliation of supplier, through food order on ground, called worker garbage people. Inspection scheduled for 3 days." He looked at Tommy. "Want to get ice cream, buddy?" Tommy's face brightened. Yes. They drove to the ice cream shop, sat outside, watched people walk by. Tommy ate his cone. Chocolate dot, his favorite. "Dad, that lady at the restaurant was nice." David looked up. "What lady?" "When you were getting the boxes, I needed the bathroom. I went inside. A lady helped me. She was really nice, but she looked sad." David's jaw tightened. A kind waitress in a restaurant run by a cruel man. He thought about her, about all the staff who probably endured Marcus's treatment every day, about how power, when held by the wrong person, hurts everyone around them. 3 days, he thought. 3 days and everything changes. That evening, David sat at his desk in his home office. Tommy was asleep. The house was quiet. He opened his laptop, started typing his official report, but his mind kept going back to what Tommy said. A kind waitress. David pulled up the Sterling Rose's employee records. Public information for licensed establishments. There, Dia, Sarah Martinez, waitress, 5 years at the Sterling Rose. He pulled up the complaint database, searched her name. Nothing. But he searched the restaurant. 47 complaints in 5 years. Most dismissed. Some settled quietly. Hostile work environment. Verbal abuse. Withheld wages. Unreasonable demands. All pointing to one person. Marcus Webb. David's phone rang. His supervisor. Linda Hayes. "Chen, I heard about today. You filed the incident report?" "Just finishing it," David confirmed. "Good. We've had our eye on the Sterling Rose for years. But Webb's lawyers are good. We need our tied evidence." "I have it," David said. "Public humiliation. Food safety concern. And I'm requesting a full surprise inspection in 3 days." "Approved. I'll send the team." "No team. Just me. I want him to see who he humiliated." Linda paused. "You sure?" "Positive." "Okay. But by the book, Chen. No revenge. Just justice. Always," David said. Because that was the difference between him and Marcus Webb. Marcus used power to humiliate. David would use power to protect. The next 2 days, David prepared, reviewed every code, every regulation, Every standard. He wasn't looking to destroy Marcus. He was looking to teach him that every person matters. Every worker deserves respect. And that cruelty always has consequences. On the third morning, David woke early, put on his official uniform, dark blue, County Health Department badge, clipboard. Tommy came into the kitchen, rubbing his eyes. "Dad, you look different." David smiled. "This is my real uniform, buddy. You're a health inspector?" "I am." Tommy's eyes widened. "Like the people who check restaurants?" "Exactly. Are you going to check that mean man's restaurant?" David knelt down, looked his son in the eyes. "Yes, but not to be mean back. To make sure his restaurant is safe. And to teach him that how you treat people matters." Tommy thought about this. Will he say sorry? Maybe, David said. Maybe not. But either way, he'll learn. The Sterling Rose was busy. Lunch service. Tables full. Kitchen running at capacity. Marcus moved through the dining room, checking tables, adjusting place settings, greeting high-profile customers. This was his domain, his empire, built from nothing. He'd worked every position in a restaurant. Dishwasher, line cook, sous chef torde, iran, boimio, head chef. Finally, owner. 15 years of grinding, sacrificing, climbing. Now, he had the finest restaurant in the city. Michelin rating pending. Tag. Waiting list 3 months long. He'd earned his success. And he'd earned the right to demand perfection from everyone around him. If they couldn't handle it, they could leave. Sarah Martinez approached. The waitress Tommy had mentioned. 32. Kind face. Tired eyes. "Mr. Webb, table 7 has a question about the wine pairing." Marcus barely looked at her. "Handle it. They specifically asked for you." He sighed. Annoyed. "Fine, Dway." He walked to table 7. Smiled. "Charming. Dotty Wall." Explained the wine selections with expertise. The customers loved him. That's who Marcus was. 2 faces. One for people who mattered. One for people who didn't. Sarah watched from across the room. She'd worked here 5 years. Seen the best and worst of Marcus Webb. She'd seen him throw plates when orders were wrong. Seen him scream at kitchen staff. Seen him reduce new servers to tears. But the customers, they only saw the charm. The media, they only saw the success. She'd thought about quitting many times. But she had 2 kids, a mortgage. Bills died. Jobs weren't easy to find, especially ones that paid this well. So she stayed and endured. Like everyone else. The kitchen expeditor called out. "Marcus, delivery at the back." Marcus frowned. "I'm busy. Someone else handle it. It's the produce company. They're asking for you specifically." Marcus's jaw tightened. The produce company. Probably that delivery driver from 3 days ago. Crawling back to apologize. Good. Let him grovel. Marcus walked to the loading dock. Pushed open the door. Expected to see the delivery driver in his blue uniform. Instead, he saw a man in a dark blue official uniform. County Health Department badge. Clipboard. Dot. Camera. And the face was familiar. Marcus froze. The delivery driver. No. Not the delivery driver. The health inspector. David stood at the loading dock. Clipboard in hand. Camera around his neck. Official badge. Clearly visible. "Good afternoon, Mr. Webb," he said calmly. "I'm Senior Health Inspector David Chen. I'm here to conduct a surprise inspection of the Sterling Rose." Marcus's face went through several emotions in seconds. Confusion, recognition, disbelief, then fear. You're the delivery driver, Marcus stammered. I'm a health inspector, David corrected. Part of my job involves undercover supplier evaluations, to see how establishments treat workers who handle their food. Marcus's mouth opened, closed. This is about the dented can? David looked at him steadily. This is about how you treated a supplier, and how that treatment reflects on your food safety standards. Look, I may have overreacted, but 3 days ago, David interrupted calmly, you threw an entire food delivery on the ground. You called me, quote, garbage people. You made me collect scattered food from a loading dock while customers watched. Marcus's face paled. Now, David continued, I'm here to conduct a full health and safety inspection. You have the right to be present during the inspection. You have the right to contact your lawyer. But you cannot refuse or delay the inspection. Do you understand? Marcus nodded, unable to speak. Good. Let's start with the kitchen. David walked past Marcus, into the restaurant. The kitchen staff looked up, saw the uniform, the badge. Everyone froze. David started at the prep stations, checked temperatures, examined storage, inspected cleanliness, took notes, snapped photos. Marcus followed, trying to explain, justify, defend. We maintain the highest standards, he said nervously. Do you? David lifted a container, checked a label. This is stored at 52 degrees. Danger zone . Should be below 41. He made a note. Moved to the dishwashing station. Checked sanitizer concentration. Too low. Another note. Walked to the walk-in cooler. Found improperly covered food. Cross-contamination risks. More notes. With each violation. Marcus's confidence crumbled a little more. The kitchen staff watched. Some looked scared. Others looked almost relieved. Because finally, someone was holding Marcus accountable. Sarah watched from the dining room. Saw the inspector. Recognized him. The delivery man. The one Marcus had humiliated. She felt something stir in her chest. Hope. David moved to the staff area. Employee lockers. Break room. Time sheets. May I see your employee records? David asked. Marcus hesitated. Do you have to? Health inspections include workplace safety. Yes? Reluctantly, Marcus provided the files. David read through them, carefully, noting patterns. Excessive overtime. No log breaks. Multiple staff turnovers. Complaint forms. Filed but never addressed. One from Sarah Martinez. 6 months ago. Hostile work environment. Verbal abuse. Marcus's response. Employee counseled. Matter resolved. David looked up. Is Sarah Martinez here today? Marcus's jaw tightened. Yes. Why? I'd like to speak with her, privately. That's not necessary. It's part of my inspection, David said firmly. Employee interviews are standard procedure. Marcus had no choice. Sarah was called to the break room. She entered. Nervous. Saw David. Recognized him. Her eyes widened slightly. Ms. Martinez, David said gently. I'm Inspector Chen. I'm conducting a routine inspection. I have a few questions. You can answer honestly, without fear of retaliation. Your responses are protected. Sarah looked at Marcus through the window. He was watching. She looked back at David. A little boy, about this tall, Needed the bathroom 3 days ago. Was that your son? David paused. Surprised. Yes. He was very polite. Very sweet. She smiled softly. He told me his dad was the nicest person in the world. David's chest tightened. Then, I saw... Sarah's voice dropped. I saw what Mr. Webb did to you. How he treated you. Did that surprise you? Sarah shook her head. No. That's how he treats everyone he thinks is beneath him. Including staff. She hesitated. Then... Yes. Can you give me examples? Sarah looked at the window again. Marcus was still there. He's watching, she whispered. He can't hear us. And he can't retaliate. Federal protection. Sarah took a breath and started talking about the screaming, the thrown plates, the impossible standards, the fear, about how the kitchen staff couldn't take breaks during rush, how overtime was mandatory but unpaid, how mistakes were punished publicly, about how everyone was afraid, all the time. David took notes. Every word. When Sarah finished, she looked exhausted. But also lighter. Thank you, David said quietly. You're very brave. What happens now? She asked. Now, I finish my inspection, and I file my report. Will he get in trouble? David looked at her. That depends on what else I find. But, yes, there will be consequences. David finished his inspection. 3 hours. Every corner, every process, every record. He compiled his findings in the dining room, asked Marcus to sit. The lunch crowd had cleared. Only staff remained, watching from the kitchen, waiting. David laid out his clipboard. Mr. Webb, I've completed my inspection of the Sterling Rose. I'm required to review my findings with you before I file my official report. Marcus sat, hands clasped, jaw tight. First, David said food safety violations, improper storage temperatures, inadequate sanitization, cross-contamination risks. These alone warrant a rating reduction from A to C. Marcus's face went white. See? That will destroy my business. Second, David continued, workplace safety violations, inadequate break provisions, unpaid mandatory overtime, no proper ventilation in dish area. These are OSHA violations that will be referred to the labor board. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it. Third, David said, his voice quieter now, treatment of suppliers and staff. While not technically part of health code, it reflects on your establishment's overall standards. If you treat the people who handle your food with disrespect, how can I trust you handle the food itself with respect? He looked at Marcus directly. 3 days ago, you threw food on the ground. You humiliated me publicly. You called me garbage. Marcus's face flushed. I didn't know. Know what? David interrupted. That I was a health inspector. So if I'd been just a delivery driver, that behavior would have been acceptable? Silence. Completely silence. Marcus had no answer, because that was exactly what he'd thought. Mr. Webb, David said, you built this restaurant through hard work. I respect that. But you've forgotten something fundamental. That every person who contributes to your success deserves respect. From the delivery driver to the dishwasher to the waitress who's worked here 5 years despite filing a complaint you ignored. Marcus's head dropped. Your rating is officially C, David stated. Effective immediately. A notice will be posted in your window. You have 30 days to correct all violations and request re-inspection. He stood. But there's something else. Marcus looked up, desperate. I'm not shutting you down, David said, despite having the authority to do so. Because I believe people can change, if they're willing to learn. He pulled out a paper. This is a program. Worker dignity training. 6 weeks. You'll learn proper workplace management, how to treat staff, how to create a healthy environment. Complete it. Fix the violations, and you can retest for your R rating. He placed the paper on the table. The choice is yours, Mr. Webb. Learn and grow, or lose everything you've built. David walked toward the door. Marcus's voice, broken, called out. Wait! David stopped, turned. Marcus stood, hands shaking. I'm sorry for what I did to you. David looked at him. Long, steady. Don't apologize to me, he said quietly. Apologize to your staff. They're the ones who've endured it for years. And he left, leaving Marcus standing there in his empty restaurant, facing the staff he'd terrorized, facing the consequences of his cruelty. Marcus stood alone in his restaurant. The dining room, empty. The kitchen, silent. The staff, gone home early. He looked at the paper David had left. Worker dignity training. 6 weeks. He looked at the violations list. Pages of failures. Years of neglect. He looked at the window, where tomorrow a C rating sign would be posted. C. He'd worked 15 years to build an A-rated restaurant, destroyed in one inspection, because of one dented can. No, not because of the can, because of how he'd treated a man. Marcus sat down, put his head in his hands. He thought about his journey, starting as a dishwasher at 16, working his way up. Every position, every sacrifice. He'd been treated terribly by some owners, screamed at, humiliated, underpaid. And he'd promised himself, when I'm the owner, I'll be different. But somewhere along the way, he'd become exactly what he'd hated. The screaming chef, the impossible boss, the man who treated workers as disposable. When had it happened? When had success made him cruel? His phone rang. His business partner died. Investor D. Friend. Marcus. I just heard. C rating? What happened? Marcus told him. Everything. The delivery driver, the inspection, the violations. There was a long pause. So you're telling me, his partner said slowly, that you humiliated a health inspector who was undercover, and now we're rated C? Yes. Marcus, what were you thinking? I wasn't, Marcus admitted. I saw a delivery driver and I treated him like he didn't matter. And now I've destroyed everything we built. Another pause. What are you going to do? Marcus looked at the worker dignity training paper. I'm going to fix it, he said quietly. All of it. The violations. The training. The way I treat people. Can you? Marcus thought about Sarah's face. The fear in her eyes when she talked about him. Thought about the kitchen staff. How they flinched when he walked in. Thought about David Chen, standing in the loading dock, picking up scattered food, with quiet dignity. I don't know, Marcus admitted, but I have to try. That night, Marcus went home, looked at himself in the mirror, saw a successful man, wealthy, respected, feared, and utterly alone. He'd built an empire, but he'd lost his humanity. The next morning, Marcus arrived at the restaurant early. The C rating sign was already in the window. He stood there, staring at it. Customers walking by, pointing, whispering. His phone buzzed. Reservation cancellations. Already starting. He walked inside. The staff arrived, one by one, nervous, unsure. Marcus called a meeting. Everyone, kitchen jail, servers, dishwashers, all of them. They gathered, silent, waiting. Marcus stood in front of them and did something he'd never done in 15 years. He apologized. "I owe all of you an apology," Marcus began, his voice shaking, unfamiliar with vulnerability. The staff looked at each other, confused, suspicious. "For years, I've treated you poorly. I've screamed. I've thrown things. I've demanded perfection while showing no appreciation. I've made you afraid to come to work." Sarah stood in the back, arms crossed, waiting. "I told myself, this is how you run a successful restaurant. This is how you maintain standards. This is how I survived when I was climbing." He paused, but I was wrong. I wasn't maintaining standards. I was being cruel, and I convinced myself it was necessary. He looked at each person. "Yesterday, a health inspector came. You all saw him. What you didn't know is that 3 days ago, I humiliated him publicly when he was undercover as a delivery driver. Whispers. I threw his delivery on the ground. I called him garbage. I made him pick it all up while customers watched." Marcus's voice cracked. "And he maintained his dignity. He didn't fight back, didn't argue, just picked up the boxes and left." He looked at the C rating notice on the wall. "Yesterday, he gave me exactly what I deserved, a C rating. Violations I'd ignored, standards I'd let slip, and a mirror showing me who I'd become. Silence. He also gave me something I didn't deserve, a chance to fix this, to learn, to become better." Marcus pulled out the worker dignity training paper. "I'm enrolling in this program. 6 weeks. I'm going to learn how to treat people with respect, how to run this place the right way." He looked at his staff. "But more than that, I want to apologize to each of you, individually, for specific things I've done. If you're willing to listen." No one moved. Then, slowly, Sarah stepped forward. "I filed a complaint 6 months ago," she said, her voice steady but emotional. "You told me I was being too sensitive, that I needed to toughen up." Marcus nodded. "I remember. You made me feel like I was the problem, like wanting to be treated with basic respect was asking too much." "I know," Marcus said quietly. "And I'm sorry. You weren't the problem. I was. You deserve to be heard. And I failed you." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "That's all I wanted. To be heard." One by one, staff members came forward, shared their stories, their hurt. And Marcus listened. Really listened. For the first time in years, he saw them as people, not as tools, not as subordinates, as human beings with feelings, families, dreams. By the end, Marcus was in tears. "I can't undo the past," he said finally, "but I can change the future, starting today, if you're willing to give me that chance." The staff looked at each other. No one quit that day. But trust would take time. 6 months passed. Marcus completed the worker dignity training. Every week, every session, he learned about workplace psychology, about respect, about the difference between demanding excellence and demanding submission. He fixed every violation, upgraded equipment, corrected storage, implemented proper break policies. He started having weekly staff meetings, where people could speak safely, without fear. He stopped screaming, started listening. Slowly, the restaurant changed. The fear in the kitchen replaced with focus. The tension in the dining room replaced with warmth. And customers, they noticed. The C rating hurt at first. Reservations dropped. Revenue fell. But word spread about the changes. About the owner who'd admitted his mistakes and was actually fixing them. People started coming back, not just for the food, but for the atmosphere, the kindness, the place where staff smiled because they wanted to, not because they were afraid not to. After 6 months, David Chen returned. Re-inspection day. Marcus stood at the loading dock, waiting. David pulled up, not in a delivery truck. In his official vehicle, he stepped out. Clipboard ducked. Camera. Badge. Marcus walked forward, extended his hand. Inspector Chen DA. Thank you for coming. David shook his hand, surprised by the gesture. Mr. Webb. Please, Marcus said. Call me Marcus. David nodded. All right, Marcus. Ready for the inspection? Yes. And before we start, I want to say thank you. David paused. Thank you? For giving me a chance, Marcus explained. You could have shut me down. You had the authority, the justification, but you gave me an opportunity to learn, to change. And I want you to know, I took it seriously. David studied him, saw something different. The arrogance, gone, replaced with humility. Let's see, David said. He conducted the inspection. Thorough, careful. Every station, every process, every record. But this time, everything was different. Proper temperatures, correct sanitization, organized storage, staff taking scheduled breaks, time sheets accurate, complaints log maintained and addressed. And something else, something harder to measure but impossible to miss. The staff. They weren't afraid. They greeted David warmly, answered questions honestly. Some even smiled. David interviewed Sarah again. Privately, how are things? He asked. Different, she said. Really different. Marcus is trying. Really trying. He asks how we're doing. He listens to concerns. He hasn't yelled once in 6 months. Do you believe the change is real? Sarah thought carefully. I think he realized he almost lost everything, and that scared him into actually looking at himself. Whether it lasts, I don't know. But right now, it's real. David finished his inspection, sat down with Marcus in the dining room. Marcus, he said, I've completed my re-inspection. Marcus held his breath. Your violations have been corrected. Your workplace standards meet requirements. Your staff reported a significant improvement in environment. Marcus's eyes filled with hope. Your rating, David said, is restored to AA. Marcus's head dropped, shoulders shaking. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you. David stood. You did the work, Marcus. I just held you accountable. As David walked to the door, Marcus called out, Inspector Chen. David turned. Your son, Tommy, the kind little boy who needed the bathroom that day. Please tell him. Tell him the mean man learned to be better because of his dad. David smiled, a real smile. I will. 1 year later, David was doing routine inspections. Drove past the Sterling Rose. Saw the A rating proudly displayed. Saw customers lined up outside. Happy. laughing. He parked, walked inside. Marcus saw him, broke into a huge smile. "Inspector Chen, or should I say, David? Please, join me for lunch on the house." David hesitated, then, "Actually, I'm with my son today. Can I bring him?" "Please," Marcus said warmly. Tommy came in. 8 now, still wearing his curious smile. He looked at Marcus. "Are you the mean man from Dad's work?" Marcus knelt down. "I was. But your dad taught me to be better. And I'm sorry for being mean." Tommy thought about this, then extended his hand. "Okay, I forgive you." They ate lunch together, the 3 of them, and Marcus personally thanked every delivery person who came that day. If there had been a camera, it would have pulled back slowly from that table, where a health inspector who chose mercy sat with his son who taught him about forgiveness, and an owner who learned that success without kindness is just noise. You'd see the A rating in the window. Hard-earned, not given, earned through humility, through change, through choosing to be better. You'd see the staff moving through the dining room with confidence, without fear, treated with dignity. Finally, and you'd see Marcus greeting every delivery person by name, thanking them, making sure they felt seen, because he remembers what it felt like to be invisible. Marcus Webb learned what most people never understand, that how you treat someone when you think they can't affect you reveals everything about your character. And that karma remembers, not to punish, but to teach. David Chen could have destroyed Marcus's business, could have shut him down permanently, could have taken revenge for public humiliation. But he chose something harder. He chose to give a chance. Because real justice is not about punishment. It is about transformation. If this story reminded you that every person deserves respect, regardless of their job or status, subscribe and hit that like button to support the Steadfast Heart Stories. Every like helps us bring more soul-stirring stories like this one to life. Stories about consequences, dignity, and the choice we all have to lift people up or tear them down. Because the way you treat people when you think no one important is watching is the truest measure of who you are. Thank you for watching. Stay warm, stay kind. See you in the next story.